Hey guys, we have another weekend of some significant astrology playing out. Number one, on Friday, Jupiter ruling truth, ruling expansion, ruling beliefs, backing out of the sign of Aries, ruled by Mars, into the sign of Pisces, ruled by Neptune. This should bring a pretty serious shift in terms of maybe our level of confidence and assertiveness. We may feel a bit more like evading or avoiding some things and perhaps surrendering in some type of a way. We also this weekend have Mercury leaving Libra, entering the sign of Scorpio. Mercury and Scorpio, guys, this is deep penetrating insight. That is what we are seeking. We are seeing into the depth, we are seeing into the root of things, and we're really able to sort of wrap our mind around it. And we have Mercury in the sign of Scorpio. And in correspondence to Mercury entering Scorpio, we also have Mars stationing to go retrograde in the sky. This is a theme that is going to be with us throughout the next several months. We've got a lot to talk about today, you guys. Let's jump into this chart. Let's see how these aspects are playing out, what energy is present for us today, and how we can make the most of it as we go through our weekend. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, October 28th, 2022. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological outlook of the weekend. In this report, we're going to be talking about the energy that we have present for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and how we can make the most out of it, okay? First of all, starting with Friday, and like I said in my intro, this is sort of packing a punch this weekend energetically as we have it playing out. We've got some significant things going on. We've got Mercury, our mind, changing signs, moving into Scorpio this weekend. Jupiter retrograding back into the sign of Pisces. We've had Jupiter in Aries for quite a while, and we've sort of been getting used to this vibe, but not anymore. We are dipping our toe back into the sign of Pisces. Jupiter's actually going to come back close to a conjunction to Neptune and form a square to Mars over this next coming couple of weeks as well. So we've got some Jupiter energy that we're going to be talking about today on Friday, primarily. On Saturday, we are also in Black Moon energy this weekend, and then Sunday is sort of the big day of the weekend that we've sort of been waiting for all month of October, with Mars stationing retrograde. Simultaneously, it's interesting because Mercury is currently ruling the sign of Mars. Mercury is about to be moving into the sign of Scorpio, ruled by Mars. So we've got Mars in the sign ruled by Mercury, and we're about to have Mercury in the sign ruled by Mars. This is setting a mutual reception up with Mars and Mercury while Mars is about to go retrograde. And I feel like this is giving us a lot of insight about what the primary, like the preliminary stages of this Mars retrograde energy are really about. And we will talk about that as we get into the energy for Sunday. But of course, we're going to start with Friday. This is our Jupiter day. This is the emphasis on Jupiter. And it's so interesting because not only do we have Jupiter backing into Pisces on Friday, but also we've got a Sagittarius moon going on. And a Sagittarius moon is a moon that is being ruled by Jupiter, that is emphasizing Jupiter, that is pointing to Jupiter, that is like our emotions are. Our feelings of what's going on inside of us are sort of being dictated by the more Jupiterian vibes when we've got a Sagittarius moon, and Jupiter is all the business on Friday as well because Jupiter is moving into the sign of Pisces. Jupiter is actually the ancient original ruler of the sign of Pisces as well. So a very strong Pisces vibe we are transitioning into today. Yesterday, we had a very strong Mars energy going on. Today, we are backing off of that. There's like water being splashed on our fire, and we are definitely probably feeling a lot less combative, a lot less assertive, a lot less dominant, a lot less confident perhaps as well than we were in the energy for yesterday. This is sort of like maybe a little bit of like an about face in terms of where we were heading yesterday and how we're sort of feeling and thinking about things today. But we definitely have this transit, this retrograde motion, this switch of signs by Jupiter being emphasized by the moon placement that we have going on in Sagittarius. Now, not only is the moon in Sagittarius today indicating whatever's going on with Jupiter, but the moon in Sag is also building all day into both an opposition with Mars, who's about to be stationing to go direct on Sunday, right? And also Neptune. Neptune and Mars is this dynamic that we've had going on throughout essentially our entire month of September, September, our entire month of October, and we're going to be having this theme present, honestly, like pretty much through next spring because of Mars's retrograde process. This Mars will retrograde way back into Gemini, and this aspect will break apart, but there's going to be a third hit of this exact aspect that we're dealing with as Mars stations direct, and it goes back through Gemini and comes to the degree where Neptune is again later this spring. So this Mars square Neptune energy is something that we are getting used to at this period of time, and that has a lot to do with slowing down, making sure that the choices we are making, the actions we are taking, the decisions we are coming to are based on something that is in alignment with our higher self and our personal truth, and not for the purpose of satisfying an ego urge or maintaining some type of false image or appearance or rising to some type of fantasy or ideal that isn't necessarily in alignment with our personal truth. It's also about learning what we need to let go of in terms of our ego, and also what we need to heal some very deep wounds or very deep traumas, okay? Mars squaring Neptune. If we are coming from a place that is overly attached to our ego in this energy, it can have a tendency to have us taking some very delusional, disoriented, chaotic type of actions, all right? And it can create a mess for us in various ways. And we don't want to be doing that, do we? No, we don't. So we are using the Neptune energy over the course of this Mars square Neptune period to allow ourselves to come into a greater alignment with our higher self and our personal spiritual connection, and not taking actions to create some type of fantasy or based on some type of confusion or delusion or false understanding or image or appearance or presentation or projection about something, because that can be something that really like trips us up when we have Mars squaring Neptune. And this is just something that we are going to be dealing with throughout the course of this winter and heading into the spring. And we have already been dealing with it to a pretty significant extent throughout the course of October as well. But the moon in Sagittarius today, and this mutable sign, is going to be coming into the opposition with Mars and Gemini, right? Gemini and Sagittarius are oppositional signs to each other, and also the square to Neptune in Pisces, which again is something we've been dealing with. But today, I feel like, at least in the energy as it stands, today and right now, the emphasis is weighted on the Neptune side of things as opposed to the Mars side of things. When we had Jupiter in the sign of Aries, Mars was ruling Jupiter because Jupiter was in the sign that is ruled by Mars, and Jupiter was really expanding our confidence and our faith and trust and belief in ourselves and our like assertiveness and our ability to like be motivated to take a risk and actually to have some success and like moving forward and pioneering out and being independent and creating like a whole new world for ourselves. It's very like carpe diem, seize the day type of energy with Jupiter in the sign of Aries, supporting whatever Mars is doing. Very expanded level of courage and assertiveness and confidence and motivation and inspiration and willpower to speak our mind, Mars and Gemini, and stand up for what we believe in. But with Jupiter retrograding back into the sign of Pisces, this is a very different vibe, right? This is all about surrender and connection and faith. This is a very expanded faith. That is really what we are being blessed and gifted with this regression of Jupiter. If nothing else, it is expanding our ability to connect to our higher self, to connect to our intuition, to trust our intuition, and to align with our greater spiritual truths. So we have that. But with the moon in Sagittarius today, coming to this opposition with Mars, forming the square to Neptune later, we may feel a bit deflated, okay? The wind may be taken out of our sails a little bit, or like I said, like water being splashed on our fire, the air sucked out of us, like that type of feeling we may be sort of experiencing in terms of this like perhaps diminished sense of like gusto or personal presence that has been present while we have had Jupiter transiting the sign of Aries. Now, this energy will be coming back, right? We have to wait for Jupiter to station direct, but this energy will be coming back. But for now, we are going back into the expanded Pisces vibes. Much more emotional and sensitive energy than what we've been dealing with, obviously. Pisces is a much more sensitive sign than Aries, and so we are, holding back a bit more perhaps, which we are doing anyways because we have Mars stationing to go retrograde in the sky. But this could definitely just have us in our feelings a lot more and a lot more emotional about things. A level of emotion that is connected to our choices a lot more so than maybe we've been experiencing when we had Jupiter in the sign of Aries and this Mars Gemini energy. This could bring, honestly, like I'm feeling in the context just of how this is happening, a strong sort of sense of maybe second guessing ourselves or questioning our faith could also be an element of this with the square going on between Mars and Neptune from Pisces and Gemini. Even though we have Jupiter backing into Pisces, this still could be bringing up this energy where we are really like questioning our faith. We could also be questioning our sanity and our clarity of mind. This could be definitely an element of what is coming up now as well. People, I'm telling you, I mean, today, moving into the preliminary phases of this Mars retrograde energy, perhaps throughout the duration of this Mars retrograde process, people may be generally acting like insane. Like we may feel like the world has just totally gone crazy. And we may really be questioning our own personal truth and what we are discovering and what we are learning and the true validity of that. There is like this dimension playing out of not being able to perhaps like trust the reality as we are seeing it in front of our eyes. And therefore, you know, that is where this expanded need to be able to rely on our faith and to zone in, like hone in on our inner compass and be able to really be coming from this place of authentic truth, authentic connection, knowing who we are so that we can't sort of be pulled off course or manipulated by the general delusion, insanity, and lack of clarity that may be playing out at this point in time as well. There's a major aspect of like people being sort of spurred into action, spurred into taking action through a distorted perception, idea, belief about something, gossip, slander, propaganda, false images being projected. All of this is very, very, very primed in the field over this period of time, and we've got to be very careful about what we are allowing to motivate us and what we are actually acting on in that regard as this energy is playing out. We have Mercury today on Friday for Jupiter's entrance into the sign of Pisces. While, I mean, Mercury is ruling the position of Mars, Mercury is currently still in the sign of Libra, one of the last days in the sign of Libra, kind of balancing things out a little bit, but with Venus conjunct the Sun right now, ruling the sign of Libra, it really is still about like getting to the core truth of things in regards to relationship dynamics and finances and what's really valuable to us and what's really important to us. However, with this Jupiter energy going on today and Mercury being at 29 degrees of Libra, that Sabian symbol is mankind's vast enduring effort for knowledge transferable from generation to generation. We may also be questioning our own personal truth right now, what we've discovered, what we've learned about our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to others, what we truly want in a relationship, what we truly value, all of these Venus combust themes we may really be thinking about in the context also of what we're doing, how we're acting, what's the status of our faith right now, are we seeing things clearly, are we on the right path, have we just completely lost our mind? All of these type of questions might be coming up for us today as we are, wanting to take the lessons that we've learned and apply them to this new trajectory that we're going on right now, but we may be questioning if we're on the right course, if we're on the right path, or if everything that we've learned or everything that we've discovered has just been an illusion in some type of way. Like that's the energy that I feel like is sort of coming through with the strong Pisces vibes in the context of this very strong Mars energy that we had the yesterday and the day before that. So, honestly, I guess we're probably going to be asking ourselves a lot of questions today. We've got Mars and Gemini stationing in the sky, preparing to go retrograde. Gemini is a sign of questions. Gemini is a sign of understanding, ideas, information. Mars about to go retrograde, Jupiter backing into Pisces where it was in Aries ruling Mars. We really may just be asking ourselves questions today about, again, our personal capabilities, our personal willpower, our ability to act, whether or not we can do it. We may be feeling a little shook in our confidence and shook in our faith. With the Sagittarius moon today opposing Mars as well, there may be fights and conflicts going on, again, over ideas, over beliefs. Specifically, this could be regarding women as well, with it being the moon ruling the mother. There could be conflicts going on regarding things to do with the home or family as well, or, you know, just generally like with the mother like archetype situation somehow. But women, there may be conflicts or a prominence in regards to something going on, or conflicts going on, or issues going on with women today as well. But generally, we are, you know, like I said, with Mercury in the sign of Libra, I'm going back to Mercury, you guys, because Mars is such an emphasis right now, and Mars is in the sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So what is going on with Mercury is really crucial in terms of understanding how the Mars energy is currently playing out. So that is why I'm going back to talking about Mercury so much, even though we've got the Sag moon. I mean, the Sag moon, Mercury is also relevant because Sagittarius opposes Gemini, where Mars is right now, which is ruled by Mercury in the last degree of Libra. So Mercury is actually playing and holding quite a significant role today in the context of this other energy is playing out. And I feel like, you know, with Mercury in the end of Libra, talking about Venus in conjunction to the sun and this eclipse energy as well, Mercury is also going to be playing a very significant role moving into Sunday when we have Mars stationing retrograde, reactivating actually the eclipse that we had recently. We'll talk about that. Sunday's a big day. But we are still focused on the truth and detaching from the past, this truth of our heart, and in the sign of Scorpio, detaching from that which is toxic, that which is unhealthy, that which is keeping us from seeing the truth of our value, the truth of our potential, and tapping into our inner resources. That is where our mental focus is, despite, you know, what we're doing or what we're saying or what we're thinking, or, you know, that could be like sort of one of the foundational aspects of us questioning whether or not we are on the right track, or whether or not we've totally lost our mind about something. Like, it could be in this energy today, like our search for the truth making us feel like we've maybe sort of gone a little bit crazy, or, you know, maybe we are sort of not seeing things clearly in some type of a way. But like, legitimately, I really feel like this energy is trying to help us reconnect to our own intuition and our own higher selves in order to actually give us more clarity about the direction that we need to be heading. But, you know, in the context of just how this is all playing out right now, and the way that the energy has been like yesterday and the day before, and the way that the energy is now, it's like very radically different. So we may have felt like we were on like a straight, like fast-paced speed course trajectory towards something, and then all of a sudden today it's like slamming on brakes and like, hold on, I'm having second thoughts. I don't know if this is the right idea. I don't know if this is going the right direction. I don't know if I was just like totally crazy when I thought about launching off in this new direction. Like, that is sort of the vibe that we may be dealing with as this energy is playing out. So, you know, we are still committed to seeking this truth, to getting back to basics, to simplifying things that have been overcomplicated, to realigning with the truth of our value and tapping our potential and stuff. But it's like, now I feel like we may be doing it in a bit more passive way, less aggressive, less assertive, and maybe a little bit less confidence. However, if we're using the Neptune energy properly, and this is also giving us a very expanded ability to visualize and to imagine and to align our mind's eye with that which we want to create, and that which we want to manifest. This is not the active energy for creating and working and putting it out there and going after it anymore. This is the energy for, through our inner vision, through our mind's eye, through meditation, through imprinting that which we wish to create and manifest on the formless substance of our subconscious mind and the invisible field, energetic fields around us. Like, that is the best way, you guys, that we can use our energy right now to achieve positive outcomes. And we need to keep that in mind, because physical action that we are taking in this energy right now has an opportunity to sort of backfire and not work out that well when it comes to starting and initiating new things. This is a time for backtracking, going back, fixing things that we've built already and that aren't working the best that they can, or for using this mental imaginative faculty, this meditative faculty of our mind to, on an energetic level, contribute to the success of our manifestations and our creations through, again, imprinting on the subconscious, through our mind's eye, through our visualizations, prayer, meditation, connecting to the divine, asking for what we want, and solidifying our vision in terms of how we want our activities to go going forward. Very strong, very powerful, very, very supported. Manifestation techniques, very supported. This is where we are putting our energy into, not the active creation as this retrograde energy kicks off. This is a much more passive energy. However, we can still achieve the same outcomes without really messing things up for ourselves if we are using our energy properly at this period of time. Now let's move on, you guys. Let's talk about the energy for Saturday the 29th. This is sort of like a pause, okay, in what we have playing out this weekend. We are in some black moon energy on Saturday. We begin the day with the lingering moon Mars opposition vibes. That aspect kind of comes exact like in the evening or like later into the night on Friday. And we still have Mars in the later degrees of Sagittarius to begin our day on Saturday. But then the moon will leave Sag and enter the sign of Capricorn. And what happens every month when the moon enters the sign of Capricorn at this point in time is it begins to activate the black moon, which is currently in the sign of Cancer. The black moon operates in polarities. Whenever we have the moon in the sign where the black moon is, or the sign opposing the black moon, it can trigger and bring up what we call black moon shadow side issues, fears, worries, insecurities, doubts, generally pertaining to the themes of whatever sign is hosting the black moon. Right now, the black moon is in Cancer. So this has to do with safety, stability, security, ability to like give and receive love, nurturing, care, sustenance, support, and an ability to like feel a part of the group, feel accepted, feel a part of the home, and simultaneously be able to have success in the physical, tangible world. The Capricorn polarity being brought into this as well. So when we got the black moon activating, this can really be bringing up some fears, worries, insecurities, doubts pertaining to home, family, or our role in the group, our ability to be loved, appreciated, accepted, and successful, and whether or not we can truly care for ourselves. Again, brings up those needs of, or those themes of safety, security, stability, and our ability to have what we need to like be okay, essentially. That's what we got going on when we've got the black moon in the sign of Cancer and the moon activating from the sign of Capricorn. Now, black moon days have a tendency of being a bit heavier on an emotional level. This can sort of bring us down because these things have a tendency of sort of rising from the depths and just like impacting our emotional body. So we have this black moon energy coming in. It could be kicking up these fears or these doubts, and we could be feeling a bit consumed by them actually in the energy on Saturday, especially with these Pisces themes being highlighted again. Pisces is a very spiritually connected sign, and it is where we connect to our higher selves and the spirit world, and how we essentially communicate with God, spirit, universe through our inner vision. However, because of that ability of Pisces to merge with spirit, Pisces also likes to merge with spirit, which is a denial of the reality, on the other hand, which is an avoidance of things, which can translate into escapism. And it can also indicate fears of loss, or like fears generally about the unknown. And it can bring up a lot of uncertainties, and we can kind of feel detached from our physical reality, or a general desire sort of just like not to participate in things. So we need to keep that in mind as well. And in this energy, as it's playing out on Saturday, with the emphasis on the Pisces energy, with the black moon energy, with Mars really preparing to station in the sky tomorrow, again, like we could be questioning ourselves, our abilities, our self-confidence, who we are, what we're capable of. We also have the sun at 7 degrees of Scorpio on Saturday. That Sabian symbol is deep sea divers, which really reminds me of this black moon energy that we have going on. And mind you, we will be talking about this more in the coming weeks, but the black moon is also moving into an opposition with Pluto right now, you guys, which is a major, major, major purge. transformation, regeneration, also deep healing of our subconscious shadow side issues in relation to our ability to feel safe and secure and protected, and our ability to give and receive love and nurturing and care and affection and stuff like that. We've got that pending and coming up too. There is likely to be a pretty profound subconscious transformation that is going on within the collective of humanity related to our fears and our shadow side issues over this next several weeks. But with deep sea divers being the position of the sun today, and this black moon energy in effect, and this expanded watery Neptune energy as well, like, we are going deep. And don't forget, we are also in Scorpio season, about depth, right? Deep sea divers. This is a very scorpionic degree, talking about water sign Scorpio, the most like intense and, in my opinion, deep water sign. It's all about like getting to the core and like this passion and these like deep emotions and these deep drives that come from these deep wells of like feeling and emotion, and that are held within like the deep recesses of our psyche. The word deep to me is very, very synonymous with the Scorpio vibe, and with all the Scorpio energy, this expanded Pisces energy, and the black moon energy today, we might, like really be diving under the depths of things, going deep, and really trying to get to the root of some problems with Venus combust the sun, or get to the root of our heart, figure out what it is that we truly desire, what it is that we truly value, what we truly prioritize, and how we want to navigate going forward now that we have become aware, now that these things have been illuminated for us. What changes is this having on our relationship dynamics, on how we're doing life, and what transformations is this having in terms of our relationship to ourself, our own perception of our worth, our own perception of our value. This is a huge theme that is coming up this entire Scorpio cycle with the eclipse season, and also the nodes of the moon, south node Scorpio, north node Taurus. This is a karmic detox that is really helping us to discover the truth of our value and what we can do for ourselves with it. That's the lesson, you guys. But we're deep sea divers today. We're going deep, and there could be some deep, heavy emotions that we are really having to navigate, or that we are up against, or that we are with the Pisces energy, maybe wanting to dive under and not deal with today as well. So that's what I feel like a generalized vibe for Saturday is going to be. We also have Mercury, 30 degrees of Libra on Saturday. Of course, last degree of Libra, again, emphasizing love, money, relationships, partnerships in the context of Venus conjunct the sun. What is the honest truth of the matter? What is the honest truth of our heart? And what do we need to detach from Scorpio? What do we need to let go of eclipse season in order so that we can build, rebuild, or recreate Mars and Gemini retrograde, our life as a reflection, as a mirror image of that which we are honing in on as our own personal truth and value system at this point in time. That is really what this retrograde, Mars retrograde in the square to Neptune, you guys, is doing for us. It is trying to help us recreate our world as a reflection or a mirror image of that which we are reconfiguring ourselves as at this point in time. So really very strong, significant impact that it should be having in the long run when we get through this energy. But again, these preliminary phases could be quite disorienting in the way that this energy is manifesting, is playing out. Now, with Mercury still in Libra today, the energy is still heavily weighted, I feel like, for the Neptune Pisces side of things, as opposed to the more Mars Gemini side of things. But tomorrow, like I said, Sunday is the big day, and Mars is stationing to go retrograde. Simultaneously, Mercury is moving into Scorpio, setting up this mutual reception between Mars and Gemini, Mercury and Scorpio. So that should be a very interesting vibe that we're dealing with over the next couple of weeks. And again, the preliminary phases of this Mars retrograde energy, I find it very interesting that that is happening in correspondence to Mars stationing retrograde, like they're happening on the same day. Mercury went through this whole retrograde process and comes just to the point, just to the place of being ready to enter Scorpio on the same day that Mars, who's been transiting Gemini for quite a while now, is stationing to go retrograde. So very synchronistic alignment that we have going on in that regard. And it's going to set up an interesting dynamic, okay, with these two planets in mutual reception. So Sunday is really going to be a very Mars and Mercury oriented day. Saturday, though, just to wrap up the energy that we're talking about for Saturday, we could be caught in some very deep or very heavy emotions and a greater level perhaps of sort of like a desire to escape from things, to escape from reality, or maybe just to surrender in some type of way. The past couple of days, there has been a very active, assertive, confrontational energy going on with the Mars vibe being very highlighted. But today, at least on Saturday, we may feel a bit of surrender, avoidance, escapism could be coming through. These are probably not the most like happy, upbeat vibes that we have going on Saturday, but we are still being given an opportunity to really get to the core of some of our deeper fears and really discover some root issues that come tomorrow. With this Mars retrograde energy, we are going to have an opportunity to regenerate, heal, recreate, rebuild from the inside out for ourselves. So that being said, let's move on. Let's talk about the energy for Sunday. Again, this is our very significant day this weekend, and we've got two shifts going on. We've got Mercury moving into the sign of Scorpio. We've got Mars stationing in the sky. When a planet stations in its motion, its energy is amplified tremendously. So there is definitely going to be a highlight on the Mars energy on Sunday. Big energy day. Mars stationing retrograde at 26 degrees of Gemini. That Sabian symbol where Mars is stationing retrograde is winter frost in the woods. So I feel like, this is talking about, if we think about, winter frost in the woods, when we have winter time in the woods, there's not much happening on the surface. There's not much happening externally. It's, kind of, it's winter, so it's cold and it's sort of more barren, and all the activity is going on underneath the surface of things, which fits right into our Scorpio season, you guys, to our eclipse season, and also fits right into this retrograde process of Mars, which rules action, rules what we're doing, how we're behaving, and what we're engaging in, how we're using our energy, and things actually happening. With Mars stationing at this degree, I feel like this is telling us generally that this winter is about what is going on the inside and not so much about what is happening physically around us. We have Mercury, like I said, moving into Scorpio. This is focusing our mind in a way that is giving us this penetrating insight and actually a desire to see the darker or the more ugly side of things, which we also have prominent right now with Venus in the conjunction to the sun as well. Now that we have Mercury moving to the sign of Scorpio, the sun, Mercury, and Venus all geared towards getting to the root of the problem, solving the mystery, figuring it out, understanding what's been hiding in the darkness, what's been hiding under the surface, what's been behind the curtain. This is what we are peering into. This is what we are gaining an awareness of, because if we don't look into that, we can't figure out the wholeness of this new version of ourselves that we're coming to now. We need to look at our own darkness. We need to look at the darkness that has been operating in the recesses of the various aspects of our lives so that we know what we need to detach from. We know what hasn't been serving us. We know what hasn't been healthy. We know what's been toxic. So we know what to detach from, to walk away from, to move on from, to leave behind in this South Node eclipse energy that we're in right now, and the Scorpio season energy generally. Now, it's interesting and it's significant because while, yes, Mercury is moving into Scorpio for the day that Mars stations in the sky, remember, Scorpio is ruled by Mars. So Mercury is moving into a sign ruled by Mars while Mars is currently in the sign of Mercury. This is setting what's called a mutual reception in astrology, and it really is blending the energy of these two planets. But what is also interesting about Mercury's entrance into the sign of Scorpio in correspondence to Mars stationing retrograde is that for Mars's station on Sunday, Mercury, because of his faster paced motion, will actually be at 2 degrees of Scorpio. Do you guys remember what else happened at 2 degrees of Scorpio? It was our solar eclipse that happened with our Scorpio new moon that happened on the 25th of October. That also happened at 2 degrees of Scorpio. So for Mars's stationing today, we have Mercury ruling the position of Mars activating the degree where our new moon solar eclipse happened on the 25th of October, 5 days ago. So that is telling me, you guys, that for one, things that happened or began to happen around the 25th may really come up today in some type of big way. Or this is also saying that this retrograde period about Mars is for the purpose of actively helping us to do a lot of what was indicated in that new moon report. And this new moon report is a lot about cutting off the excess and honing in on the truth of our heart and really being able to detach ourselves from anything that is no longer supporting that process. And so while we have this mutual reception going on of Mercury and Mars, Gemini and Scorpio, activating the eclipse degree, activating the new moon degree on the day Mars is stationing retrograde, again, I feel like a lot of the energy that we have over this retrograde period is one of the best ways that we can use it is to turn it inwards to heal some of the past wounding and past trauma that has led us to a place of surrendering our power in any type of way. I feel like this is sort of like the spiritual warrior Mars, like invoked inwardly, that is really helping us to detach ourselves from mindsets in the sign of Gemini that have been constricting our growth or have been causing us to surrender our power. This is sort of like us internally waking up and this like internalized sense of courage and strength, taking control and moving us in a direction that will ultimately be much better for our organic growth in the physical external world as well, but it's just internalized right now. And this is not the time, again, to be taking action, to be starting new things, to be exerting ourselves or dominating things or exerting force in some type of way. This is energy where we want to be turning it inwards and figuring out how we can heal ourselves, okay? The position where Mercury is, the position where our new moon was, 2 degrees of Scorpio, a broken bottle and spilled perfume, removing superficial and shallow appearances, and like opening the container to let out that which has been masking or releasing that which has been masking our organic truth in one way or another. We also have the moon today. It's so interesting because Scorpio, where Mercury is, where the sun is, where Venus is, we're in Scorpio season right now, ruled by Mars, yes, but also ruled by Pluto. Scorpio is dual rulership. It's got co-rulers, Mars and Pluto. And while we have this massive emphasis going on Mars today and this Mercury-Mars mutual reception, it's interesting because we also have the moon in Capricorn. Remember, it's going to be activating the black moon, but I said that the black moon is moving into its opposition with Pluto. So all day as well, the moon is building into a conjunction with Pluto. So we've got this massive emphasis on the Mars energy in regards to our mind and our thoughts, right? But simultaneously on an emotional level today, we are aligning with this Pluto energy. So once again, a big emphasis going on both Mars and Pluto in the context of the Scorpio season ruled by Mars and Pluto. We're in crucial times right now, you guys. The things that are happening right now are important. They need to happen. They're meant to happen, and they are really working to put things right in some ways that may be very unapparent in the current environment of things. Strong underworld vibes, very much so coming through today, seeing the darker side of life in ourselves, but honestly, embracing it to some extent or surrendering to it as well and figuring out what must be done to fix it ultimately is what this is driving towards. And it's so interesting because we have the sun for the day today on Sunday when we have this retrograde happening at 8 degrees of Scorpio. That Sabian symbol is the moon shining across a lake, illuminating, reflecting on the depth of our feelings and our emotions and what has been going on or what has been hidden under the surface. So there is just this massive energetic theme that I feel like is coming through that has to do with this retrograde period being about helping us to essentially recalibrate our relationship to our own energy body and how we act and how we behave and what we think about and how our thoughts translate into our actions. This is the type of thing that I feel like is being very much so realigned based on deeper discoveries and deeper truths that we're coming to over this period of time. So becoming the spiritual surgeons, I feel like, in a lot of ways of our own lives, and cutting out what's making us sick or preventing healing or growth during this Mars retrograde process. It's time to redo, rework, reprioritize, rebuild, reconstruct a healthier life for ourselves based on a transformed mindset. I feel like this energy is also helping us to heal or overcome or integrate or deal with some perhaps like mental health issues as well. That's another thing that really is likely to be coming up in some significant ways over the course of this Mercury or this Mars retrograde process. It could really be putting an emphasis on and bringing up things to do with mental health, because like I said, the world is sort of collectively losing our minds. There's a bit of just like macrocosm insanity that could be playing out over this period of time. But ultimately, it is helping us to heal, to integrate, to regenerate, to purge, and to detach from the things that have been keeping us in a state of anxiety, or, that have been contributing to, feeling panicked, or cognitive dissonance and stuff like that as well. There could be a highlight and a theme on it, but we are also being given an opportunity to really heal and regenerate the way that our mind is working generally, and what that translates into in terms of the actions that we are taking. Time for active purging, regeneration, healing, transformation, learning. Also, Mars in the sign of Gemini retrograde, learning or relearning how to heal or fix our deepest wounds. This is taking a second look perhaps as well. This is like getting a diagnosis about something and then learning something different, going back and getting a second look, and then, reevaluating whether or not that diagnosis was right in the first place. This is reconsidering the way that we've been using our energy, the way that we've been behaving, the way that we've been acting, the initiative that we've been taking, the mindset that we've been operating under, in a way that actually helps us to heal wounds and fix problems from the deepest level. Put energy into self-discovery, healing, learning, and personal transformation over this period of time, and that is what is going to benefit us the most. We are alchemizing, we are transmuting states of victimhood into states of self-empowerment, states of wounding into states of healing and growth as we go through this period of time. And again, it is making sense in the context of this eclipse season and the nodal axis right now, this karmic detox process, South Node in Scorpio, North Node in Taurus, detaching from that which is stealing our power and keeping us away from the truth of our authentic value, so that we can tap into our personal resources and create and cultivate a secure, stable world around us as a result of our own means within us, okay? Of our own personal tools that the universe gifted us with, learning how to use them. With this expanded Neptune Pisces energy right now as well, this is telling us that there is actually a necessary element of surrender and trusting our faith as this retrograde plays out as well. Things may not make sense on the surface. We may feel generally, like I've said several times, like the whole world has totally lost their mind, has totally gone insane. And this, again, in the context of this environment, this is not the time to start new things, to launch out new projects, to go like in our own way, or like take a big risk. Like, this is not really the time to do it. This is the time for an internalized healing process. It's even being indicated by the position of the Earth today. I find to be so ironic. On the day that we have Mars stationing to go retrograde, the Earth itself is at 8 degrees of Taurus. That Sabian symbol is a sleigh without snow. So like, we're not moving forward, and we're not moving forward because the environment is not right. We don't have the proper like grounding to be able to move forward in a way that is not continually creating resistance. Okay. So this is just not the time that we want to be launching forward, launching out, and doing something. Reckless, backwards, disoriented actions and ideas are indicated now if we are just impulsively launching into things. Also, gossip, slander, propaganda, false narratives, polarized ideologies, spurring people into these rash and unstrategic actions that are likely to sort of just make a mess of things for us. People are also making choices based in pure delusion and fantasy with this Mars square Neptune energy. And these things are happening most likely when we are operating through a distorted ego. Like I was saying earlier, if we are coming from a place where we are overly attached to an ego that is being distorted by the lack of clarity generally that is being presented, we are likely to take some actions that are not in our best interest. This is not the time, you guys. This is the time for getting to the root of our problems, for self-analysis, for self-investigation, for some undercover journalism in regards to how our own mind works and why we do what we do and how we think and what motivates us and where our insecurities are stemming from and where our original traumas came from and the impact that had on our subconscious mind and what we can do to heal and what we can do to transmute and to alchemize these states and these struggles and these self-sabotaging patterns. We are freeing ourselves from karmic cycles and karmic patterns and negative subconscious programming. We are not creating more of it for ourselves by being irrational in our actions because we just want to rush forward and we can't have patience. We need to have patience, you guys. Patience is definitely a virtue as we're going throughout this period of time. And again, we want to be very careful that we are not just like overly attaching to sort of like a distorted ego view or image or idea of something, because it can cause just some real issues for us. As this energy unfolds, we need to remember that this is the time of surrender, healing, and fixing the things that we've created that are no longer a reflection, a mirror image, Gemini, Mars and Gemini, of our truth, or that have somehow created some type of schism going within us. There's so much energy right now that is really helping us to hone in on our own personal truth. And then I do believe this Mars retrograde process is helping us to recreate our world as a reflection of that which we are becoming and realizing that we are now. But it is not the time to start something brand new. We are redoing what we've already done in this energy, rethinking how we act and behave, not unconsciously acting out of distorted ego urges that turn our lives upside down, because that is how things can go if we are doing that in this energy. And with Mercury ruling Mars at 2 degrees, the broken bottle and spilled perfume today, the eclipse degree, the new moon degree, fated destined endings coming through with this, we could really be getting some news or information pertaining to things that happened around the new moon or in regards to what we need to know or hear in order to detach ourselves from something in one way or another. Remember, this new moon, this is Scorpio cycle. It's a new cycle, but it's a new cycle in what we're walking away from, what we're detaching from, what we're leaving behind, and what we're discovering the truth of our value really is. We also have Neptune. One more thing I want to say about the energy for Sunday. We have Neptune at 23 degrees of Pisces. Neptune also recently just moved degrees. Neptune has been at 24 Pisces for a very long time, just in time for Jupiter this weekend moving into Pisces and this Mars station. We have Neptune retrograding back to 23 Pisces. That Sabian symbol, you guys, is a materializing medium giving a seance. So again, even Neptune, ruler of Pisces, where Jupiter is, this expanded Pisces energy, ask for divine guidance and assistance. The veil between worlds is extremely, extremely thin right now, you guys, with all of this. First of all, the Scorpio energy and this expanded Pisces energy as well. There is profound potential and opportunity for really gaining some tangible spiritual guidance or insight or assistance. Signs, synchronicities, ask and you shall receive in this energy, you guys. This is tremendous energy to talk to God, to talk to universe, to talk about your fears, to talk about your desires. Remember, this is very strong and powerful energy for setting the stage for what we wish to manifest going forward into next spring. So we are cherishing and we are harnessing and we are aligning with our spiritual connection, our higher selves. We are being guided by our intuition. We are following our inner compass, and we are attaching less to the news, the information, the narratives, what people say, what people think, the opinions, the judgment, the beliefs, all of that. We are coming from a place of being very centered and grounded in our own personal truth and in our relationship to God and the divine. And that is what is going to help us navigate this weekend and this period of time going forward through this winter, I feel, with the most grace, the most productivity, and will, glean us the most productive and best positive, successful outcome once we get out of this energy going forward. So that is what I have to say, you guys, for this energy, how it's playing out this weekend. This is again, like, this is more turning point energy. This entire month of October has really in a lot of ways been a turning point of this year in terms of what's been playing out, in terms of what's been going on. And now I do feel like this weekend, as we close out the month of October, is also indicating and referencing a lot of the same. We're going to grab a synchronicity card now to see what advice from God, Spirit, Universe we can use to help us navigate this weekend and the beginning of our Mars retrograde in the most productive and positive way. And there we have a card. Wow, you guys, like, I swear these cards, you can't make it up. It says you will be guided. And I'm pretty sure I just got done saying, like, we need to talk to God. The materializing medium giving a seance, literally ask for divine guidance and assistance as the veil between worlds is thin with all of this energy. I literally have that written down in my notes right there. I just said that. So I really feel like that is how we shine during this general time of perhaps some collective delusion, okay? It says, you will be guided, sent his angel to show the things which shortly must be done, Revelation 22:6. Shortly, you will be shown the direction you should take. The way will open up for you to move forward. Seize the opportunity that comes to you. Know you are being divinely guided. Listen to the voice within for guidance. And that is the underlined theme for this weekend and for where we are going in this Mars retrograde energy. So you will be guided, you guys. It's all good. We are going to make the most of this energy. I hope that everyone has a beautiful weekend. I hope I was able to provide something for you that can entertain you or give you just a little bit of whatever you may be needing as you navigate your path this weekend. If you guys did like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would be interested in this content too. Leave me comments, you guys. I love your comments, love your feedback. Thank you guys so much for being here. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a website, and some other socials in my description box below. And come back with me, you guys. My next video I'm going to be putting out is my November overview. I am going to be skipping the last day, the 31st. We don't have too much going on. We do have Venus. I believe will be in a conjunction to the South Node. But again, this is really just reinforcing everything else that's playing out right now. This is us, again, detaching from that which is stealing our power and keeping us out of the truth of our values. So more of that coming through on Monday, and I will be back, you guys, with our November overview. So look forward to that. I will be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. Have a beautiful weekend, everybody. And until next time, bye guys.